Hi! In this video, we're going to be making banana bread as our base recipe, but I'm also going to show you how to replace the bananas with some other ingredients to make a whole different outcome. You're going to need 3 old and overripe bananas. I'm using fresh ones in this, but you can use previously frozen ones, all the same. 2 eggs, half a cup each of brown sugar and white sugar, a teaspoon each of baking powder, baking soda, and salt, half a cup of oil that I've also added our teaspoon of vanilla to, and 2 cups of flour. You're also going to need a mixing bowl as well as a loaf pan. The pan I have today isn't quite a conventional loaf pan, but the baking time should turn out the same. First, we're going to peel our bananas into our bowl. For overripe bananas, I find it's hard to open them from the stem, so I always do it the monkey way, as Evan put it, and pinch the bottom to pop them open and start peeling that way. Once we have them plopped in the bowl, we're going to mash them up. I'm using a fork for this whole recipe because it's really important to show that you don't need fancy tools or anything like that to cook at home. And I also hate extra dishes, so why dirty something else? Make sure you mash all the chunks out of the banana and make them real nice and soupy. When they're good and mashed, we're going to add our eggs. Throw them in and give it a good mix. After that, we're going to add our oil and vanilla mixture. Once all our wet ingredients are incorporated, we're going to work into the dry. First adding our sugars, as well as our baking powder, soda, and salt. Give this all a good mix, breaking up any clumps of brown sugar or other dry ingredients. We want to get all the heavy mixing done now before we add in our flour. Throw the flour in and gently mix it in. We want to only mix until it's incorporated. If you went to town mixing all this flour, it would start to develop gluten, which would make our banana bread tough, and we do not want that. We want it cakey and light instead of bready. Once that's all done, we're going to prepare our loaf pan with a bit of oil. I have a little fistful of saran wrap to push it around with and make sure all the sides and edges are well covered. This will help it from sticking so you don't have to wrestle it out of the pan later. Pour all your batter in, give it a little tap on your counter to make it settle and even out on the top, and throw it into a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean in the center. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of other options for this recipe. I also made a carrot batch and zucchini batch of this exact same recipe, just replacing the bananas with 2 cups of my swapped ingredient, grated on the large setting. You could also use beets, apples, crushed pineapple, pretty much anything you can imagine to make into this yummy loaf. I also added some extra spices and mix-ins to these batches. So if you're experimenting with this at home, add in as many spices as you like and about half a cup of whatever mix-ins you're feeling. Chocolate chips, raisins, nuts, candies. I ended up making a ginger carrot spice and white chocolate batch, and nutmeg, zucchini, and pumpkin seed for the other ones. I turned these batches into muffins since I was low on the proper loaf pans. If you wanted to do this, just bake them at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes instead, depending on how full you make them. Are so fun to work with and a great way to clean out all those odds and ends you might have in your pantry. The combinations are endless. These are great to make ahead and freeze for lunches, last-minute snacks, or when you just need a little something sweet.